Welcome back to Director's Choice. When Squid Game came out in 2021, it immediately became one of the most popular series on Netflix. It's strange to say we all loved a show about people willing to die and kill for money, but that is the reality of the world we live in. Squid Game gathered a bunch of people to one location where they battled it out for the ultimate prize money while being watched by suspicious guards. Guards who hardly ever speak, but are willing to kill when need be. Who are these guards, and where did they come from? If you have ever wondered about this, then you're about to find out. In today's video, we'll be looking at a theory that explains where these red jumpsuit-wearing weirdos came from, and it's more surprising than anyone ever imagined. The Men in Red. In Squid Game, they are a group of guards that watch the players and execute them if the need arises. Little is known about these guards except that they are probably being paid a lot of money, and they will do anything to keep making that money. Unlike the players in green, we never got to know the Men in Red. They always minded their business and only spoke when it was absolutely necessary. We also never saw any of these men get picked up like we saw with the players. Because of this, we don't know where any of them came from, but thankfully, we're about to find out. DDAKJI. DDAKJI is the game played by the Squid Game players before they enter the official game. At the beginning of the series, we saw a recruiter offer players a chance to make money by playing DDAKJI. This is the game Gi-hun plays before joining Squid Game. In the game, the player can choose between a red card and a blue card. According to a recent fan theory, the card you choose actually determines your fate. When Gi-hun played, he chose the blue card, which is why he became a player, and not a guard. This theory suggests that those who pick red cards become the guards of the game, who wear red, and those who pick the blue cards become the players of the game, who wear green. This is why when Gi-hun picked blue, he woke up as a player. If he had picked a red card, he would have woken up as a guard. This means that the color the player chooses is what will determine their role in the game. While this doesn't change much about the game, it does give a sense of hope, because now we know that the players were in control of their own fate, even if they didn't know it. The real story behind the cards. Plausible as the theory may be, it has already been revealed as false. But don't worry, you're about to find out the real story behind the card. And it's even more disturbing than the last one. According to the Squid Game director, the card you choose does not affect your fate, because your fate is already sealed from the moment you agree to play. The director explained that the red and blue game was actually a reference to a Japanese folktale, and that the recruiter was merely the facilitator of the game. In the folktale, known as Akamanto, a masked spirit wearing a red cloak haunts people who are using the bathroom. When the spirit enters the bathroom, it tells the occupant to choose between red and blue tissue paper. However, there's no right answer to the game, and any choice the occupant chooses will still lead to their death. This is the creepy folktale that the first game is based on, which means that the players of Squid Game were doomed from the moment they agreed to play. They had no control over their fate because it had already been decided for them. Choosing a red or blue card was not going to change that. This makes Squid Game even darker than it already was. Knowing that all the players had no hope from the very beginning is a difficult pill to swallow. The first theory was more optimistic because it meant that the players had a chance to determine their fate and can make it out of the games by becoming guards. The theory also fits almost nicely given that the players wear more blue-green colors while the guards all wear red. But the real story about the cards that connect the game to Akamanto cast a dark cloud over each of the players, because they never even had a chance. Simply by agreeing to play the game, they had already signed up for their own deaths, and nothing was going to change that. There's only one way to avoid this fate: don't play at all. You can't lose the game if you never play. In the final episode, when Gi-hun sees the recruiter doing the same thing to a potential victim, he manages to scare him away. Not playing is the only way to escape death. Just like with the Akamanto folktale, the only way to get away from the spirit is to avoid it completely. You can't try to outsmart it by picking red or blue because it's going to kill you no matter what you choose. And it's the same thing with the recruiter. Any card you pick seals your fate. Other Squid Game theories. Now it's time to look at the other theories from Squid Game. Stick around, because they're just as insane as the first two. The foreshadowed deaths. This theory claims that the second episode of Squid Game showed more than just the characters' struggles in the real world. It also foreshadowed their deaths. First up is Deok-soo. He jumped off a bridge to escape the things that wanted to kill him. This foreshadowed his death in the glass bridge game, where Min-yo threw him off the bridge. Saibyok. held a knife to a man's throat in the real world, which foreshadowed her death in the game when Song-woo aimed his own knife at Sai Boyuk's throat. Song-woo also foreshadowed his own death when he contemplated suicide by drowning in the real world. This foreshadowed that he would ultimately end his own life while it rained heavily. The foreshadowing of his death was not as straightforward as the others. Throughout the show, we watched him be used and manipulated, and this foreshadowed the nature of his death. Oh Il-nam is Gi-hun's father. It may seem like a stretch, but this theory has some evidence to back it up. When Gi-hun requests for chocolate milk, Il-nam mentions that his son was the same. Although this might be just a coincidence, many believe that Gi-hun really is Il-nam's son. This could also explain the significance of Il-nam giving Gi-hun his #1 jacket. It could be a hand-down from father to son. Oh Il-nam had to improvise his death. At the end of Squid Game, we found out that the old man, Oh Il-nam, was the man behind the entire thing. He was the one who organized these deadly games, and he only participated for the fun of it. No one ever suspected the nice old man would turn out to be the guy controlling everything, but if you rewatch the show, you might notice a few clues that point to this. Nothing the old man did or said was completely honest, so all his actions need to be taken with a grain of salt. This makes it challenging to determine which of his clues are genuine and which are not. Still, there are some that were very obvious. According to this theory, Gi-hun's kindness affected the old man's plan on the day they played the marble game. During the marble game, Il-nam may have been trying to appear weak on purpose to avoid having a partner. If he didn't have a partner, then he would have sat out the next game, and he would have been able to leave the competition without anybody noticing. The next game was the glass bridge, and there was no way he could have faked his death there, so he needed to do it in the marble game. But because Gi-hun chose the old man out of kindness, he had to improvise and pretend that he had died after the marbles game. And that brings us to the end of today's video. Thank you so much for watching. What do you think about this Squid Game theory? Do you think the players had any hope at all, or were their fates sealed from the very beginning? Let us know in the comments section below. Check out this other recent clip by Director's Choice, and please don't forget to subscribe to our channel and click on the notification button so you never miss an episode.